Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. You know, it's wild to think that over 400 million people around the world are dealing with diabetes.
Yeah, it's a staggering number. Really puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And today we're diving deep into how technology and research are revolutionizing diabetes care. We're not just talking about managing it.
Right.
We're talking about transforming how we approach this whole condition. So much is happening in this space. Personalized solutions,
Mm.
cutting-edge tech, groundbreaking research.
It's an exciting time to be talking about this stuff.
Definitely,
Yeah.
it really is. So where do we even begin?
Well, I think a good place to start is with diagnosis.
Okay.
Getting a really clear picture of what's happening in the body. And one of the most game-changing technologies we've seen is continuous glucose monitoring, or CGM as it's called.
CGM, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard a lot of buzz about this, and it seems like way more than just a slight improvement over traditional methods.
Oh, it's a whole different ball game. Think about it. Finger pricks only give you a few snapshots of your blood sugar throughout the day.
Right.
CGM is like watching a movie. It tracks your glucose levels constantly in real time, providing so much more data not only for you,
Yeah.
but also for your doctor.
Wow.
And you're wearing these tiny sensors that transmit data straight to your phone or even directly to your healthcare provider. It's pretty remarkable.
So it's like having this constant feedback loop happening. You see how everything impacts your glucose.
Exactly. And it's amazing what we're learning from this continuous data. For example, studies are showing that some snacks,
Oh, right.
snacks that seem totally healthy, can actually cause huge glucose spikes overnight in a lot of people. And that's something you'd probably miss with just a few finger pricks throughout the day.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I never would have thought about that. So we're getting the whole picture,
Yeah.
not just a few glimpses. And you know what else I find really intriguing?
What's that?
All this talk about non-invasive glucose monitoring.
Oh, yeah.
No finger pricks. That sounds almost too good to be true.
Well, it's definitely a hot area of research, still in development, but it's getting closer all the time. Imagine a beam of light passing through your skin, analyzing how glucose molecules absorb or reflect it. Boom, you've got your blood sugar reading without any needles.
It's like something out of Star Trek.
Kind of right. And there are also electromagnetic sensors being developed. It's all about making diabetes management more convenient, less intrusive, and honestly more comfortable for people.
Which has got to make a difference in how well people stick to their management plans.
Right.
And
Absolutely. No one wants to be constantly pricking their fingers.
Exactly. And then we layer artificial intelligence on top of all this. It's not just about seeing your glucose levels in real time anymore.
No.
It's about predicting where they're going to go. Can you explain how that actually works? AI and diabetes?
Sure. So think about it. You got all this data streaming in from the CGM. What do you do with it? That's where AI steps in. It looks for patterns, analyzes trends in your glucose levels, factors in things like meals activity levels, even sleep. And it can actually anticipate fluctuations before they even happen.
So it's like a weather forecast.
Yeah, exactly. A weather forecast for your blood sugar. Let's say the AI predicts you're heading for a low overnight based on your trends and recent activity. It can give you a heads up. So you can adjust your dinner or your insulin dose. And that could potentially prevent a really dangerous situation, one you might not have even seen coming with traditional methods.
Like we're going from reactive to proactive.
Exactly. And that's a huge shift in how we approach diabetes care.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're getting a clearer picture of what's going on inside the body, and we're getting better at predicting future issues. But what about understanding someone's risk for diabetes in the first place?
Right.
You're talking about these precision diagnostic tools.
Yeah, so genetic screening is really changing the game when it comes to assessing individual risk for diabetes. We're now able to analyze a person's genes with incredible precision thanks to machine learning algorithms. And these algorithms can look at not just one gene,
Right.
but at complex sets of genetic markers. And they can predict someone's likelihood of developing diabetes with remarkable accuracy.
So it's not a guarantee, but it's like
Yeah.
getting a peek into the future.
Sort of, yeah. It's not a crystal ball.
Right.
But it gives us a much deeper understanding of someone's predisposition to diabetes. And that means we can potentially identify people who are at risk years before traditional methods would even pick it up.
So we can start thinking about prevention much earlier.
Exactly. And that's where biomarker identification technologies come in. These tools let us look for specific molecular indicators in the body. Little red flags, basically, that might signal a higher risk of developing diabetes.
So it's another way to get ahead of the curve.
Yes. And if we catch these early warning signs early enough, we might be able to intervene and potentially even delay or prevent the onset of the disease in some cases.
That's incredible. Okay, so we're diagnosing earlier, we're getting better at predicting problems. But what about treating diabetes once it's developed? I mean, insulin's been the go-to for so long.
Yeah, it has.
But you mentioned smart insulin pumps earlier.
I did.
That sounds like a pretty big leap forward.
It really is. Smart insulin pumps are a huge advancement in diabetes management. They automate insulin delivery. It's pretty amazing. They work by connecting to your CGM, and based on your real-time glucose readings, the pump automatically adjusts how much insulin you're getting. It creates this closed-loop system.
A closed loop.
Yeah. It's basically mimicking your body's natural insulin regulation, but it's all automated. The CGM talks to the pump adjusts the insulin, boom, no more constantly having to manually adjust your insulin.
It's like the pump is making decisions for you.
In a way, yeah. And it takes a lot of the burden off of the person managing their diabetes. But that's not all. There are also some really exciting developments in painless insulin delivery technologies, microneedles.
I've heard of those.
Yeah. And other methods that make injections a lot less painful and inconvenient. Because, let's face it, needles can be a barrier for some people.
For sure.
But imagine a patch with these tiny, almost invisible needles that deliver your insulin without you even feeling it. That could make a huge difference in how consistently people take their medication.
Absolutely. Anything that makes it easier and less stressful to manage diabetes is a win in my book. And then there's this whole area of stem cell therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, that still feels kind of futuristic to me.
I know it sounds like science fiction. Regenerating insulin-producing cells.
Yeah, that's really a possibility.
Well, it's definitely a very active area of research. The idea is to develop therapies that can either replace or repair those insulin-producing beta cells in the pancreas.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that are damaged or destroyed in diabetes.
Right.
Especially in type 1 diabetes. And if it works, if we can actually restore some level of natural insulin production, well, that could be a game changer. We'd be going beyond just managing symptoms. We might be able to actually address the root cause of the disease.
That's incredible. It seems like we're really moving away from just managing to maybe actually fixing.
We are, and it's not just about how we deliver insulin. The medications themselves are becoming more sophisticated too.
Oh, right. You mentioned next generation diabetes medications with unprecedented precision.
Yeah, so traditionally, a lot of diabetes medications have had these broad effects throughout the body. But these new medications are designed to target very specific molecular pathways, the ones that are directly involved in the development and progression of diabetes.
So it's a much more targeted approach.
Exactly. And that means they can be more effective with fewer side effects. It's like finding the exact key for a specific lock in your metabolism.
That's a great analogy. And speaking of targeting the root cause, you mentioned gene editing too.
I did.
Now that feels like we're stepping into the realm of science fiction.
I know it's incredible, isn't it? But it's real. And it has the potential to revolutionize how we treat certain forms of diabetes, especially those that are caused by specific genetic mutations. By directly editing those genes, we might be able to develop therapies that offer long-term solutions, even cures.
Wow. So we're talking about going from manage your blood sugar every day to potentially changing your DNA to address the problem at its core.
Yep. It's mind-blowing stuff.
It really is. And so much of this progress seems to be driven by the digital revolution.
Yeah.
I mean, you said something earlier about digital health platforms revolutionizing diabetes management.
I did, and I meant it. Telemedicine, remote monitoring. These are having a huge impact on how people manage their diabetes. There are all these smartphone apps now that give you all these tools. You can track your glucose readings, your meals, your exercise, your medications, all in one place. It really puts people in control of their own health.
So it's empowering.
Yeah, definitely. And it allows for much better communication with your doctor. You can share data more easily, get feedback more quickly. It's a win-win.
And it's not just about collecting data, right? AI comes into play here too, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. All that data you're collecting, the AI can analyze it, find patterns, and then it can actually give you personalized recommendations. Maybe suggesting the best times to eat or exercise based on your glucose trends, or it might even predict potential complications before they happen. It's like having a virtual health coach in your pocket.
That's amazing. And, you know, it's not just about the tech itself. It's about how we learn about and manage diabetes. You were talking about all these new approaches to patient education and engagement.
Oh, yeah.
Interactive platforms, gamification.
Yes.
Even virtual reality. That's pretty wild. How are these changing the game?
Well, the goal is to make diabetes education more engaging, more accessible, and ultimately more effective. Interactive platforms can adapt to how you learn best and at your own pace. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. And then you've got gamification, which can make those sometimes tedious self-management tasks
Right.
a little more fun, a little more motivating. Imagine getting virtual rewards for checking your glucose regularly or taking your meds on time.
That's way more appealing than just reading a pamphlet.
I know, right? And then there's VR, which is just mind-blowing. Imagine being able to see how different foods affect your blood sugar in real time,
Oh, wow.
in a virtual environment, or practicing how to give yourself insulin injections in a safe virtual space.
Right.
These immersive experiences can really help people understand their condition better.
It's like learning by doing.
Exactly. And it makes those abstract concepts much more tangible and memorable.
So technology isn't just making diabetes management more efficient. It's making it more human-centered too.
Absolutely.
But even with all this progress, there are still some challenges ahead, right? It can't all be smooth sailing.
Of course not. As amazing as all these technologies are, we have to be realistic about the hurdles. One of the biggest is access. Some of these advanced technologies, CGM's smart pumps, they can be expensive, and not everyone has equal access to them.
That's a really important point. If we want these innovations to truly make a difference globally, we have to make sure they're available to everyone who needs them.
Exactly. And then there's the need for continued research and investment. We've come a long way, but we still have so much to learn. And we need to keep investing in research and development if we want to see even more breakthroughs in the future.
So it's an ongoing journey, but it sounds like there's a lot of hope on the horizon.
There really is. The future of diabetes treatment is incredibly bright. We're seeing a major shift towards more personalized, more effective, and less burdensome treatments. And that's giving people with diabetes more control over their lives.
It's inspiring to hear about all this progress.
It really is. The combination of hope, innovation, and technology is transforming diabetes care. And it makes you wonder what the next decade will bring.
I know. What new discoveries are just around the corner? How will all these different technologies continue to evolve? It's an exciting time to be following this field.
Absolutely. The possibilities really do feel boundless.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive today.
It was my pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing for progress. Until next time, stay curious.